Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 12th. This is The Street Live. I'm Catherine Ross, and I am joined by Jim Cramer. Jim, normally right now I'd be asking you about the overall market, but there's two stocks I want to focus on. Now, one is Ford, and you guys own this for Action Alerts Plus, your portfolio over on actionalertsplus.com. This is a huge winner for you guys. Right now I'm looking at it. It's about pushing up nearly 5% as of 10:35 a.m. Why Ford?
Okay, I think Ford is emblematic of what I am tired of hearing about from people. I have so many people who tell me there's no bargains left. There's nothing. Everything's at a high. I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch that. And they're making a big mistake because what they're not looking at is a guy like Jim Farley, CEO, who's changing the culture. And there's no more clear kind of a sign of changing the culture than shutting down manufacturing in Brazil, which has been an amazing thorn in the side of all the CEOs of Ford for a very long time. The possibility is going to come where we see Europe and we see Latin America no longer hurting Ford. And if that's the case, Ford's going to report some very big numbers. So let's stop talking about how there are no bargains in this market, and let's start buying the ActionAlertsPlus.com charitable trust holding Ford, because I think that the idea that it's all the Fed, the idea that there's nothing new, the idea that you can't buy anything, the idea that there's no value, shut up. Go buy some Ford.
So, Jim, the other stock that I want to ask you about is Bed Bath & Beyond, and I want to put this in the broader context. What does the stock tell you about the overall market right now?
Okay, this is a very important stock. Why? It's kind of a metaphor for this moment. The stock was down to 18 after they reported. And I immediately called Mark Tritton, who I think is the brilliant CEO. And I said, look, your stock is heavily shorted. 64% of the stock is shorted. I think that the quarter was very good. I think the shorts are trying to control the stock price. He came on, and what happens? Bingo. It's right back to where it was. And now I think he can go higher. So what I'm talking about here is first Ford represents great value and is down a great deal. And then Bed Bath represents great value, is being shorted and is down a great deal. People need to look, if those are people, if you really feel like you've got the value bug, so to speak, I'm offering you value in those two names as emblematic of what you can find, rather than people just saying, you know what, I missed the rally in Amazon, which, by the way, you haven't. I think Amazon should be bought here. Oh, I missed the rally in Salesforce. No, you haven't. I think the stock's come down. I've missed the rally in Nvidia. No, I mean, it just came down a little bit here. But those are not bargains. I admit that. They are hot stocks. But for those who want the other track, the track of value, there you go. It's Ford and it's Bed Bath.
So let's focus on Amazon specifically. Now, this is a stock that you have liked for a while, but you actually think that this is a 2021 winner. And there was a little bit of noise around this stock yesterday with Parler suing the company for removing the conservative social media site from its web services. What is leading you to believe that after 2020, that Amazon can continue this winning streak?
Well, first of all, I don't think Amazon has even touched a lot of the areas that it can. Including there's some phenomenal success in Hollywood. But what is so exciting to me is the advertising side. I think that they're advertising. What a great place to advertise if you've got some goods that you want to sell. The fact that the stock keeps going down, I think, is indicative of, again, what people are saying, which is, I don't want some old hot stock. I want a new hot stock. And I'm coming back and saying, look, I'll give you the EVs. I'll give you all the EVs you want. But I think you have to recognize that there are stocks in the S&P 500 that are quite good, and you should stop dissing them and start finding them, like Ford, which is a huge position for Action Alerts, but not big enough, like Wells Fargo. You want value? I mean, Wells Fargo was at 59 like 3 years ago, okay? They got rid of their dividend. It's been a travesty, and now it's got Charlie Scharf. He's got his own team in there. Yes, did we catch the bottom? No. Could there be a huge move up with Wells Fargo? Yes. Stop complaining. Stop saying there is no value and go buy Wells Fargo.
Jim, I want to talk about a different bank, and that is Deutsche Bank. And they said that they won't be doing any more business with President Donald Trump. We've seen company after company pause their political donations following the insurrection last week. But what does it mean for a bank to stop doing business with a president, either former or current?
Well, it doesn't matter. They're just an asterisk now. They're a shadow of their former self. It used to be a very important bank. It did a lot of bad lending, including the president. Uh, if you think that the president is right, then it's good lending. Uh, Most people who are in the business of numbers would say it's bad lending. I think that the president, just like the president won a landslide, I think the president would say, "What's Deutsche Bank doing?" He's got the president's got the best credit in the world. So those who love the president, you will probably be thinking, "Wow, I should sell the stock at Deutsche Bank because they're turning down a very rich client." And for those who love the stock at Deutsche Bank, Lord help you, what the hell are you thinking?
Jim, I would say it's pretty easy this week to get distracted by the headlines out of DC, but
Yeah.
and earnings, but we can't forget that CES and JPM Healthcare's conferences are still going on, and you go to JPM's healthcare conference every year. What's it been like to have this remote, and what's your biggest takeaway so far?
Well, it's a total loser to have it virtual. I mean, the whole point is to meet people and press the flash and get to know people. And this was just like a kind of a, I don't know, watching a football game, the interviews after. That said, you can learn a lot. I learned a lot from Medtronic yesterday. Medtronic, by the way, again, now here's a stock that is a dividend aristocrat that has done a lot of things right, that's been held back by the fact that there's a pandemic and it's harder to be able to install their stuff. And it's now 117 down from 122, and that's a buy. Um, I've been looking at Abbott Labs and what they're up to with their Libre glucose monitor because Medtronic's fallen behind and Dexcom, they just pre-announced a good number, but they do this every year. It wasn't the perfect number, but Abbott also has, they've got Libre, but they also have the rollout of the card that you can test very quickly and easily. So I come back and I say, I see a lot happening in that conference, but it doesn't have the same feel because normally what I like to do is get there and bring all the big stars in the firmament of pharma there, and I don't have that this year. I had Moderna, by the way, 2 years ago. I mean, I saw them in the hall. I had said that I liked them. They were just trying to get interviewed by anybody. I interviewed them. I said, "Ooh, those are smart guys," and they turned out to be smart guys.
Yeah, one of the smartest, one of two that are successful in their vaccine candidates so far. Jim, your mad dash this morning was Zoom, which is still the dominant player when it comes to video meetings. Now, if an investor bought Zoom last spring, what's your advice after this run? And I want to put it out there for investors. The stock is up 365% in the past year. And should they add up more if they have, depending on the size of their position?
Well, I think Zoom's going to be introducing a lot of products. I think that Zoom's kind of generic now as a name of something. It's absolutely terrific. But what I would point out is that its stock has just been horrendous. Ever since it peaked at 588, here it is all the way down to 339. I think people are saying, in the way the stock's acting, is that this $1.5 billion worth of stock is going to be lapped up. And I think a lot of people are going to say, you know what? That turned out to be the bottom. So as chart speak, it's just okay. But I do think that Zoom is worth owning down here when it was at 588. Now it's at 338.
On your stop trading this morning, you said that SIGNET's ride is not over. So if an investor is looking to buy, when is the right time?
Well, Signet, I mean, you're buying it at my theme here is to not buy. Now, this, from the all-time high, it's way, way down. From the short-term high, I was just celebrating Gina Drosis for doing a fantastic job. You can let this one come in. But the quarter was really remarkable. And a lot of people doubted that this company could ever make a lot of money if it suspended the exorbitant prices they charge people in order to buy jewelry. And Gina stopped that and made it so that the company was selling on its own merits. Initially, very tough, but now, no. Good job.
Jim, Walmart is launching a fintech startup with Rivet Capital. We don't have a ton of information just yet, but why would Walmart want to dip its toes into the fintech space? And do you like this move?
Oh, but look, anything fintech, and you go into Coinbase, go into a company yesterday that's a spin-off. It makes sense because you can raise a lot of money because there's a whole cohort of people not going away that think that you need to have a more organized way to buy and sell this stuff. Now, I got to tell you, I mean, as a buyer of Bitcoin, it's sheer hell. I mean, everyone thinks it's so easy to buy. It's anything but. If Walmart makes it easier, then it will matter. But the fact is that you should not buy Walmart off this. Um, and if I were a hedge fund manager, I'd be selling it right here.
Jim, you wrote a Real Money column and you talked about it on Mad Money last night. Now, this focused on you waiting in line at Best Buy, which shows that investors have what used to be a short has now led to a long position. I actually had a similar experience with TJ Maxx this weekend. How can investors tell when retail stocks are worth investing in?
Well, I mean, I think what you have to do is you got to say, does it make it so that your home can be more like an office? Your home can be your recreation. If you can, and if you had a new home, would you bring Best Buy in? And I think that this company uniquely is trading almost entirely on what it will be like 3 months from now, when people are still, it turns out, I think, building their home office. And that is what's transcending the fact that it's hard to even shop there because they don't let you in. I'm glad you saw that piece.
All right, Jim, and you guys, you and Bill Enright, our colleague, have your bull market fantasy show later today. This follows the Nickelodeon game this weekend and a ton of football to come to watch this weekend. So what am I watching?
Well, I mean, look, I think now you got I predicted at the very beginning of the year. It's well, actually picked about 3 months ago. It's going to be Green Bay versus the Chiefs, and I reiterate, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see really good teams lose to really great teams.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us today, Jim. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm Katherine Ross, and we'll see you tomorrow.